Look at those locks.
1978 with hair, but he'd already had 2 premierships as a player and just 3 seasons. He's been a coach for 12, yet to win a flag, but many suggest it's not too far down the track. Welcome to you, Rocket.
Thanks, Jude. Where'd you dig that from?
We dug
Jeez, I like the hair back.
It's a happy 51st, by the way, for the weekend.
Thanks for the present.
It's okay. Yeah, 2 wins. Things looking good. How come the club hasn't signed you?
I don't think that's been a priority at this stage. I think both parties are comfortable where it's at the moment. We've had a pretty big pre-season, and I think everyone's focus, especially mine, is on this year, so that'll look after itself as we go down the track. Doesn't
at some stage, when people like Mike and other journalists have written about coaches swapping from one club to another, won't it become a distraction if it's not solved?
Maybe, I suppose. I think we can all speculate about that, but as I said, I think it'll look after itself at some stage down the track, and I'm certainly comfortable with that.
Have you been approached by another club not to sign?
Yeah, 3 at this stage, Jerry.
That's okay. Keep pumping your price.
Next Monday, back to the more immediate things, the Tigers at the MCG.
Yep.
If you worked out who's going to play on Richo, and you might as well tell us who it is, actually.
Yeah, we have. We did that today.
A run-with player, or a bloke who can work off him like Jared Waite did in round 1?
Well, I think the Jared Waite one's interesting because he's 6'4" or 5", so he can sort of drift down with him. So, obviously, if he plays forward, it's going to be Brian Lake. He's played on him before, but if he plays up as a wing, which he will, there'll be a variety of players. I don't think there's any one particular. I think, that Tom Williams has got the aerobic capacity to go to him. Whether he's got the footy smarts at this stage to actually hurt him going the other way, only time will tell. But there's a few players we'll probably maybe rotate on him.
Tommy Williams has got through 2 games, despite Ben Hudson. Ben Hudson nearly broke him in half on the MCG on Sunday.
Yeah.
But you must be pleased with what you're seeing with him. I mean, I know you always knew he could play the game, but
yeah,
he's actually just getting the tempo and looking better each time he plays. Yeah,
that's an interesting one. He's had a lot of unusual injuries, which is all rare. I know he spoke to James about his navicular as well. He had that 2 or 3 times, and he's had a few setbacks, but for a young lad who's only played 20-odd games and hasn't had a lot of football before that, he's got a good awareness of the game. He's got a good feel for the game. He trains extremely hard, and he's very strong, and he's athletically as good as anyone you see. Like, he's like a Koutoufides, and that for a guy who's 6 foot, no, he's 6'6". Obviously Koutou's about 6'4", but things he can do athletically. I think his biggest problem has probably been because he's got a good awareness of the game and his skills are quite good. He puts a lot of expectation on himself, and he tries to do the miraculous a bit instead of keeping the basic and simple, and I suppose that's the thing over the past month that we've reinforced with him. I thought he was quite good on Sunday.
I was listening to David Smorgan on 3W yesterday talk about, he asked a question about your forward line and how you're developing taller forwards. An interesting question. Tom Williams came up. I mean, Tom Williams, Jared Grant, Andres Everett, they're talking about how Western Bulldogs develop this tall forward that can straighten you up a little bit, or someone to go to in the bigger finals. Is that a priority for you, or is something you're going to work at towards through the rest of the year?
Yeah, I don't think those players physically will be able to do that this season. Obviously, over the past 2 or 3 years, we've tried to target some taller forwards, and we have said publicly that we certainly love one. I mean, but we haven't got one, so we've got to work with what we've got. Certainly we can find the goals at this stage. I mean, last year we were the 2nd highest scoring team. Maybe in the finals they dried up a little bit, but I think the preliminary final was a very defensive game from both sides. It was 12-8 or whatever it was, 12-7. But Grant, we think, has got a good future. Obviously Cordy and Roughhead, who are 2 youngsters coming this year, both 6'6+", who can play ruck but are probably forward as well. So there is some targets there we can develop. That'll probably take 2 to 3 years, I think.
Rocket, Jason Ackermanis played all 25 games last year, no doubt ran out of gas, clearly, in the latter part of the season.
Yeah, you probably did for a 5-week period, maybe after the bye, from around 13 to 18. I thought his last 4 or 5 games were quite good. He tagged Lovett from Essendon, kicked 4. He ran with Buchanan in the final in Sydney. I thought that helped set us up. So he had some different roles. I think at that stage he didn't run out of gas. I think it was a 5 or 6 week period, maybe through the 2/3 of the season.
Do you need to nurse him?
I don't think so much nurse him. I think we'll take it on a week basis, but certainly there'll be some thought process gone into how we can maximise his output. There's no sense him getting at his age, 32 or 33, whatever he is, and him being heavy legs and then struggling through it. And I think mentally that would actually maybe knock him down a little bit as well. So we've got to immerse him through. Maybe if we get 15 to 18 games, I think it'll be a good
I agreed with your column today, Mike, that it was actually the things Acker did off the ball that were probably more striking than things he did with the ball.
He's not as dynamic, is he, as he was? Because he's older. But, I mean, he's just very smart. His hands were really good, weren't they, Rock? And that little short kick.
Yeah, his use of the ball was very good. But even in Perth last week, he was very clean. He was very clean. He's very clean in the wet. He's a very smart player. Obviously, at 32, he probably hasn't got that dynamic speed that he has, but he's still very smart with it. So that we played in the midfield a bit last week, so he'll have a variety of roles, and there's no doubt he'll be a key component of the team.
He doesn't need to be as dynamic. I mean, his left and right kicking is as good as I've seen ever. I mean, and all played against. He's just so good with his foot skills.
And a thing I've said to Jason too, that he's probably not going to have as many dominant games as he's had in the past. I think every now and then he will, but if he can keep playing the role he's playing at the moment, where Cooney and Griffin and Higgins, and maybe Murphy when he gets back, and these type of players are going to take more of a focus, that he'll be able to get off the chain.
Interested in the life cycle of a coach. I mean, when you're coaching, I'm sure you go through a lot of emotions, and, you know, Sydney, you had a few... you had a few notorious, you know, for in the box, there's a few going off. You seem a lot more relaxed at the moment in the box, and, I mean, you've got a fantastic team, so you can probably be a little bit more relaxed, but is that the maturing of yourself? Are you enjoying it more?
Yeah, I think it's more experience, and I think probably it's more maturity. I think I was probably fortunate there on Sunday that they didn't catch me at certain times. Yeah, and I think, in fact, the confidence in the group, but certainly the confidence of the staff around you. I mean, the people in the box make a lot more decisions as well, so it's good.